If y'all don't remember, last year around maybe October, I had did a video talking about Chris Brown. I can't remember exactly what the subject matter was, but in the article, or one of the articles that I was talking about, it was either a video or maybe it was a live stream. They mentioned about how they were about to do this so-called hit piece, because that's exactly what it is, because I refuse to call it a documentary, where they were talking about Chris Brown, A History of Violence. That was the title of it. And I'm sitting here saying to myself, if there's no new information there, why are you bringing this out? Why do you keep rehashing this? Why do you keep bringing this up? Why is this a constant rotating door thing of the same recycled BS? And then when I saw a particular person's name, one of the person in question, who is Sunny Hostin, who ironically I just did a live stream on via her husband, being mentioned in this major lawsuit involving fraud and fraudulent behavior. And I said to myself, I hope Chris Brown goes after them. I'm saying in my head that I hope he goes after them. And some time has gone by, because it was like around October when I did that particular live. Fast forward to January 22nd. This comes out that Chris Brown is suing Warner Brothers Discovery because I believe the so-called documentary or the hit piece is being put on, or was put on, the Discovery or the ID channel, which is attached to Discovery, for $500 million, and saying he was falsely labeled as an abuser. I said, good for him, and hopefully he wins. But let's go ahead and find out some more information. Chris Brown is suing Warner Brothers for $500 million, alleging he was labeled as a serial violator and abuser in Investigation Discovery's docuseries Chris Brown, A History of Violence. Brown, through his attorneys, filed the lawsuit in California's Superior Court for Los Angeles County on Tuesday, January 21st. In the court documents obtained by People, the quote-unquote sensational singer, age 35, called out the October 2024 docuseries, which showed multiple women coming forward and detailing their alleged experiences with Brown. Brown is suing Warner Brothers, Apple, and the documentary's producers for alleged defamation, libel, and infliction of emotional distress through the claims made in the documentary. One accuser, identified as Jane Doe, alleges Brown violated her in 2020. The R&B singer's attorney denied the claims in the documentary. This case is about the media putting their own profits over the truth, Tuesday's lawsuit claims, adding that the network aired the documentary knowing that it was full of lies and deception and violating journalistic principles. The filing alleges that the woman identified as Doe had previously been discredited as an alleged perpetrator of intimate partner violence and aggressor herself. The lawsuit states that Brown has not ever been convicted of any sex crimes. However, the project paints him as a serial violator and a sexual abuser. And I thought that was very interesting too, because all the times that they've mentioned Chris Brown and different things over the years, whatever they could try to pin on him, none of them ever had anything tied to him being a violator. In that sense, it was always for them, it was like a physical domestic thing. Over the years, it was never that. So when they say that, I say, yeah, now they're going overboard. They're definitely embellishing even more with this. Brown's attorneys say he has worked hard at redeeming his reputation over the past decade. In 2009, he was charged with 2 felonies, an assault and making criminal threats, and the beating of his then girlfriend Rihanna the month before. He pleaded guilty on June 22nd, 2009, and accepted a plea deal of community labor, 5 years probation, and domestic violence counseling. Mr. Brown has grown from those experiences, and his evolution speaks for itself. This new production ignores that growth, choosing instead to repackage the stale accusations while amplifying them with demonstrable falsehoods. And that's something that we was discussing in the live stream. We were saying, if there's nothing new there, why are you bringing this out? It's not like we don't know a lot of this stuff already, because they made sure to remind us every chance they got for the last how many years, 15 years, 16 years that happened. The filing then addresses Doe, who, according to the complaint, originally sued Brown in January 2022, allegedly he sexually assaulted her on Sean Diddy Combs' yacht in Miami. So now now they're trying to attach him to those Diddy parties. She also sued on allegations of battery, intentional and negligent infliction, and emotional distress. The case was dismissed in August 2022 after a Miami Beach police officer discovered text messages sent by Doe that exposed her dishonesty, Brown's filing claims. Brown's lawsuit includes alleged screenshot of a restraining order Doe's boyfriend allegedly filed against her in 2021, claiming she physically assaulted him, threatened him with a knife, and harassed him online. So it sounds like this person has some issues going on themselves. After being put on notice that their documentary contained false claims and violated journalistic professional standards, defendants persisted in releasing this documentary, the complaint claimed. The filing further alleges that the documentary has damaged Brown's career and business opportunities. Well, that's the part I was going to mention towards the end of the article, but they mentioned it right here, that this can hurt him in a major way, especially since this dude is doing very well, especially over in South Africa right now. I mean, I'm sure many of you heard, but in case you haven't, his shows over in South Africa in particular have been selling out like crazy night after night after night. And we're not talking about like arenas. We're talking about like stadiums where it's like, talking about upwards of maybe like 50,000 people or more. And they've been selling out like crazy over there. It's like every time Chris Brown tries to get back on the up and up with his career, they come out with stuff like this. They just refuse to let this man just be and do his thing. He's not messing with anybody. He's not caught up in any like recent scandals or anything like that worth talking about. They keep rehashing this, and this is why a lot of people are over them talking about it, but we know what they're doing. They're trying to continue damaging his career with people who aren't aware of what happened then. Because, you know, it seems like he'll continue to get new fans as time goes on, as long as he's continuing to be consistent with his entertainment. And they don't want that. For some reason, like I said, they just have to go after him because they feel like he's probably the black guy that got away, and they just cannot let that go. This case is about protecting the truth, Brown's attorney Levi McCathern said in a release shared with People. Despite being provided with evidence disproving their claims, the producers of this documentary intentionally promoted false and defamatory information, knowingly disregarding their ethical obligations as journalists. Their actions undermine not only Mr. Brown's decade-long efforts to rebuild his life, but also the credibility of true survivors of the violence. And that's the other sad part. They said decades-long effort to rebuild his life. They said 10 plus years for this man to rebuild his life and career from one incident, not repeated incidents, but one incident. Kind of reminds you of what happened with Janet Jackson at the Super Bowl in 2004. Here's a woman that's been literally in the industry since she was a child. Everything is going fine, and then one incident happens that may or may not have her involvement, but we know it wasn't like it was a solo act. She gets basically blackballed, while the person that was also there and actually did it was able to continue to thrive. And you could thank Les Moonves for that one. And now look at his situation. Brown is suing for alleged defamation, intentional infliction of emotional distress, and using his name and likeness for promotional purposes. He is asking for $500,000 in damages and a jury trial. They're lucky. I'm sorry, it's 500 million. I think it was a typo right there from People, because I'm like 500,000. I said that's really low. It's 500 million in damages and a jury trial. We stand behind the production and will vigorously defend ourselves against this lawsuit, an investigation discovery spokesperson told People on Wednesday, January 22nd. So they're determined to say, they're basically saying, hey, we're the ones that we're right, you're wrong. We're going to defend ourselves in whatever you tried to come at us with. I don't think so. I hope that Chris Brown and his attorneys, more so his attorneys, can fight this tooth and nail, because yeah, I'm willing to bet there is a lot, and I do mean a lot, of fallacies floating all up and through there. Because I told people when I did that live talking about, Chris Brown, like I said, I can't remember exactly what the topic of discussion was, but I know it involved Chris Brown with something going on at that time. I said that I would not watch that. I was not going to watch it, and I still haven't watched it. As a matter of fact, I completely forgot all about it until I decided to make this video. But yeah, if there's nothing new to bring to the forefront, then there's no reason that they should have made a documentary. All you're doing again is rehashing stuff and then throwing stuff in there that's not true to make it a little bit more juicy. I think the only new thing that they added in there, based on when I saw the trailer for it, was they said they talked to this new woman or whatever, and I think they kind of talked about it in this article. And I'm like, I don't believe her either. It's gotten to the point where this story has become stale. No one wants to hear about this anymore. It's happened, it's done. Chris Brown has moved on. Rihanna has moved on. Both of them have families now. They're doing their thing. This is bad, because it's like you're bringing this up. Of course, he's going to be heavily affected by it, but you keep bringing it up where it could heavily affect her as well, because that means she has to relive it. That was a traumatic experience for the both of them that night. So why do you keep doing it? I mean, we know why. It's a rhetorical question. But I hope that Chris Brown and his attorneys sue Warner Brothers into oblivion. And if they do, and they win successfully, even to the point where they have to settle, that's gonna set a precedence. This is a huge lawsuit right here. And Chris Brown, I don't think I've ever heard any story in Chris Brown's career where he has sued a major conglomerate like Warner Brothers. If he's ever had any lawsuits before, they might have been little small ones, maybe against an individual or smaller entities, but to go against a big conglomerate like Warner Brothers, if he does this and win, this is going to be huge for him. So keep your fingers crossed that this actually goes his way. And I'm going to try to see if I can stay on top of the story and see if there's any more updates to come as it pertains to anything else related to the story.